Okay, welcome. I'm laughing already because I don't know how this series is going to go. Okay, welcome to Verses from the Vault, aka Back Then Bars. Now, this is where I will be coming to you from my vault, from my basement, and bringing you poems and songs from the vault, meaning these are pieces that I wrote in middle school and in high school when there was no Instagram, there was no TikTok, there was Skonex, okay, in high school, there was Skonex, and there was MySpace towards the end of high school. But yeah, I feel like had I had social media in the way we have social media now, I feel like I would have been on there saying the things that I'm about to read to y'all. And so I'm grateful. I am grateful that these pieces were mostly kept in my books. But now I'm going to get them to you, bring them to you. But it is just to get a little glimpse into little Jaylene, okay? So listen, this series here, my other series are all nice and planned out. You know, I follow a format. I'm gonna just be up on here yapping, okay? Yapping and talking and sharing with y'all some cringe moments. Some are cringe, some are good, some are like, okay, we could tell this is where it started, you know? We're gonna see the growth, okay? You see the growth from back then, from the back then bars. But yes, anyway, I already know this gonna be a time. You know, depending on how y'all like this, you know, I may develop this into like a little live situation where I could go live and we share some of the back then bars versus from the vaults, and y'all tell me which ones y'all want to hear and stuff like that. But anyway, I was a songwriter. I'm still a songwriter, but I used to write a lot of songs when I was little. We'll see if I share some of those. But anyway, here are the books that we are working from. Which one is the older one? This one. We are working from this Winnie the Pooh book. Fun fact, I still to this day, I love Tigger. And so this was a notebook given to me by one of my best friends at the time. And one thing about me, I'm gonna always do a little intro, okay? So I dedicated a page to her. So that's this book. The first poem in here is from dates 2003, okay? And then this one is the other book. But this one, as you can see, is in much worse shape than the other one. And I think it's just because of how this is formatted. You know, the cover was paper, whereas this is this kind of material. Literally a piece fell off while I was sitting here. But this is from 2004. Well, that don't make no sense. Well, maybe it does. This is from 2004 to 2006. So we're gonna start off with this one. And we're gonna start off with a piece that if you have known me from high school, my high school years through my college years, you will know this piece. Because this was like my first signature piece. It is called Detrimental to My Success. And okay, here it is. That's how it looks. Fun fact, this was written the day before my birthday, March 15th. Yeah. So I am 17 in this poem, and I wrote this for the Urban Word Slam team. I had made it to the finals, and in the finals, you have to do a 3-minute poem. I did a poem called Counterfeit. Maybe that will make its way into verses from the vault one day. And I did this for the lightning round. If you make it to the second round in the competition, in the slam, then the piece has to be 1 minute. So this is the 1-minute version of Detrimental to My Success. I'm gonna read it, but I still know it. Anyway.
Yes, baby, I do love you, but that is something I just will not do. I will not choose to create the biggest snafu.
Let me break it down for you like a haiku.
I will not have sex with you. Sorry, but it's true. Cause my life, I do value, I do love you, but
it's not happening. My legs stay shut like a tight clothespin because my creative juices are flowing like my Zen. And if you stick your USB cord into my port, we might get a micro because you wanted to embrace my tender torso. I'm sweet like a mango, but we can't tango. You see, I have a code of conduct that I refuse to let you de-strut. Deduct from me the energy I need to be in all these APs. I'm contemplating integral derivatives where 2 points meet. Not our velocity or position when we get under the sheet. The right decision, I have to make it. If not, I'll follow me around. They don't want it, like I won't be able to shake it. Like, let's say a baby, maybe no. Because God said no fornication. So I will sit and wait patiently like I was stuck in the train station until the day I walk down the aisle in my pretty white dress. I won't let sex be detrimental to my success. And then I stormed off. You know how they be like, attitude. And walk off. That thing they do on TikTok. That was me after I finished my performance. I'm gonna show you right here.
success.
Okay. Oh, that became my signature piece. When I tell you, I did that piece so much. A few things about this piece. So I say, because my creative juices are flowing like my Zen. And if you stick your USB cord into my port, we might get a micro. So y'all, you know, if you wasn't around back then in 05, or even if you were, you still might not know about, you might not get that reference. Okay. So at the time, iPods were very popular, your little MP3 players. But there was an MP3 player called a Creative Zen Micro. I'm going to put a picture of it right here. And this joint, I love this joint. I was always, I should have been a brand ambassador for them, the way I would always tell people about this thing. And I just loved it. It came in like a bunch of colors. I believe it came in a color that looked just like this. If it did, I'm gonna show you it right here. I loved this thing. And so this line, yes, because my creative juices are flowing like my Zen, like my creative Zen Micro. And if you stick your USB cord into my port, we might get a micro. So creative Zen Micro. You see, I did have back then bars, okay? But I was a little older here. Wait till we get to the poetry from this book. But anyway, what else? I like this line. To be in all these APs, I'm contemplating integrals, derivatives where 2 points meet. Not our velocity or position when we get under the sheet. That is because I was taking AP calculus. So that's why that was there. Shout out to my teacher, Mr. Nixon. Man, he was one of my favorite teachers. He truly, truly was. I wonder how he doing. Mr. Nixon, if you're watching this, how you doing? He was from Dominica. He is from Dominica. I believe he is still with us. Amen. So that was in March. And then in July, I decided to add on to the piece because, it no longer needed to be 1 minute. And most spoken word pieces were like 3 minutes. So I added a thing. So I'm not going to read the whole edition. I believe it's probably still on my YouTube page. But here are just a few of the lines. I said, I have no problem being a virgin because like a pina colada, I'm still sweet and refreshing. And I'd rather you be drunk off my love because I think that's a blessing. Inebriated from my love, not sexually, but emotionally, not physically, but spiritually, so that you can subliminally make love to me through your words. And my climax will be when you tell me you love me and you mean it passionately. Listen, this poem, it really became my mantra, and it became like an accountability thing because I was like, all right, well, guess I don't want to break the words that I have been preaching in these poems. So yeah, that is what happened. I waited till marriage. And I truly believe it was because of that poem. If I did not write that poem, I don't know that I would have waited. So here we are. Oh, I totally forgot to mention back when I read the original piece. So I definitely have the line where I say, let me break it down for you like a haiku. I will not have sex with you. Sorry, but it's true. Because my life, I do value. Now, if you are familiar with haikus, then you know that it is a Japanese form of poetry where it's 3 lines and the syllables go 5, 7, 5. Okay? 5, 7, 5. But for some reason, I did not, I mixed it up. And so I was thinking a haiku was 757, which is why I definitely say, I will not have sex with you. That is 7. I go 757. And I remember the day of the slam, and I'm backstage, and I believe it was Brian. Shout out to Brian Henry, aka Skrill. He mentioned, he was like, I think he said, like, isn't a haiku 575? But I don't remember what I responded, but I definitely went out there and did it, the way I did. Now, I want to defend myself and say, hey, poetic license. I said, I'm going to break it down for you like a haiku, as in similar to, okay? It doesn't mean it's exactly the same. But in my mind, I definitely was thinking I was doing it right. I was like, I'm going to kill him with this. And then later realized, wait, no, it's 575. Whereas later along the line, I eventually started saying, let me break it down for you like a reverse haiku. And I was doing that for a while, but then I realized, wait, a reverse of 575 is still 575. So then I started saying, let me break it down for you like an inverse haiku. And I don't know, I still think that's not correct. I'm gonna ask ChatGPT. Is the inverse of, let's see what Chatty got to say. Not exactly. The inverse would technically mean flipping the order around, which would give you 575 again. So if instead you mean reverse order, reading backwards, then yes, it will become 757, but that's not usually called the inverse, more like the reverse pattern. So inverse in a strict sense is 575, is its own inverse. Reverse order would be 757. Look at that. So I was right by saying, let me break it down for you like a reverse haiku. Maybe I would have needed to say a reverse pattern haiku, but still, reverse haiku was right. So yeah. That's our first episode of Verses from the Vault, aka Back Then Bars. Listen, this series is very unhinged. It's going to be a lot of yapping, a lot of insight into little Jaylene's mind. Clearly, we're having revelations 20 years later, literally, from some of my pieces. So, tap in if this interests you. Yeah. Tap in. We got another one coming next week. Okay, bye.